let's talk about types of data and common use cases. And we're going to start very basically. We're going to compare and explain differences between quantitative and qualitative. When we say quantitative, we quantify. There is a number, it's numerical. And when we say qualitative, it could be anything else, really. It could be natural language, reviews, what people say, um, anything that is not necessarily just numerical. So when we say quantitative, as we say in there, we measure and count numbers. Example, the customer clicked 13 times. We quantify how many times the customer has clicked, and it provides the what. And qualitative, on the other hand, it describes, it observes. It's usually a text or something that was said by someone, and that's the why. So we can say, for example, the customer clicked 13 times. That's quantitative. And we can then explain the reasons why they clicked 13 times. Maybe because the website was bugging, and that explanation is qualitative. And here, when we talk about specifically quantitative, we have two different categories. We have discrete data and we have continuous data. Discrete data is something that we can literally count. We can say I have 10 fingers. I don't have 10.36. I have 10 fingers. This is a discrete number. We have 15 employees in the company. I have 5 pairs of shoes. This is discrete. On the other hand, we have continuous data, and this is measured on a scale. We can say that the temperature is 25.6 degrees. So it goes through a spectrum that is continuous. The housing price is 20,536. It's continuous. It's a value that is very specific. And we can also have a fraction of something. We can say that I have a fraction of the house. It's one house. But the price of the house is a continuous value. In the qualitative world, we talk more about language. For example, here, sentiment analysis, happy, confused, excited. This is qualitative. And this captures traits, characteristics, and subjective meaning. Because since we're using words, we can interpret, and therefore things can be subjective. We look for patterns, themes, and categories. And for example, when we analyze a YouTube transcript, that's a qualitative data because it could be any type of natural language information in there, and we can then interpret it. There is this noir hierarchy. This is basically N for nominal, O for ordinal, I for interval, and R for ratio. Let's start with nominal. Nominal are labels that have no specific order. For example, we have red, blue, green, or we have countries like France, Germany, Morocco. These are nominal. We just mention them and number them in no specific order necessarily. If I say red, blue, or green, it's not like I say red is better than blue or green is better than blue. And they have no order. When we talk about ordinal, in ordinal, we do have ranking in them. So when I say first spot, second spot, and third spot of a competition, we know that the first spot is the winner, the second is the contender, and the third is the bronze medal or something like this. So this is ordinal. If we move to interval, for example, if we talk about degrees, when we say it's 0 degrees Celsius outside, we don't mean 0 as if there is no temperature. It is an interval because it can go into minuses as well. So interval is a value that can always be situated between values. It's an interval. And the ratio, in the case of money, for example, when I say I have $0 revenue, it means literally there is nothing. It's an absence of money, totally. So it's also equal intervals, but there's a true zero. A true zero means that when you have 0 of it, you don't have it. It doesn't exist. So for example, I have 0 cans of Coke at home. It means that I have no cans of Coke at home. But when I say it's 0 degrees outside, it doesn't mean that there is no temperature. It just means that the temperature is 0. So in the structures of data, we have ordered data and we have chaos. And I like this chaos saying because data can be in so many different formats. And as a data analyst, you're going to work mostly with structured data. And think of structured data as tables, rows, and columns, as you find in Excel, in SQL. This is the type of data that you're going to be working with. You have semi-structured data, where you still have the information structured in a way that we can still extract meaningful insights in a fairly easy way, but it's not as organized as a table. And here we have JSON files, which are usually objects that have inside of them data. And we can look at examples as well of these later on as well. Or web APIs, when we extract some or we scrape data from the internet. For example, we have certain financial information in Yahoo Finance, and we want to extract the yearly trends of Bitcoin, for example. And that data, when it's going to be scraped, it's going to be usable, but it's still semi-structured. We still need to transform that data into a table or something that we can use. Whilst unstructured, here we talk about things that usually they need some form of specific processing, like audio, like video, like emails, like pictures. When I say I'm gonna analyze pictures, that's a very difficult thing to do because pictures are pixels, and for us to write an algorithm that can analyze that, that's quite advanced. And all those are called unstructured. There is something called the trust spectrum. And the trust spectrum is basically, where did you get the data from? Did you get it from your company? Did you get it via a second-party partner? Or did you get it from a third-party tool? For example, first party is where I query data from the database, our database. That's directly go in, get in the data. I trust it. The levels of trust is very high. The second party tool is, for example, I'm using a tool like Salesforce or HubSpot, and the data is shared via that platform. The trust is still there, but it's not the same as if I took it from my system. And third party is like literally the data doesn't live even in one of either my organization or a second party partners, and it lives outside of that. So the trust is even lower. And we should aim to always look for data within our organization or from second-party trustworthy partners. And if needed, we can look elsewhere, but we need to make sure that we understand that if we look elsewhere, the data might be less accurate. There's something as well that you're going to hear a lot in your data analytics project, especially when you create dashboards, is do we do batch or real-time processing? What is batch and what is real time? Let's start with real time because the name makes sense. Real time is getting the information instantly. So as soon as you click, you get. And that is done in cases, for example, fraud detection in banking. We want to instantly see or recognize if there is a fraud or something that seems like a fraud detection. And in the case of dashboards, for example, if we take the data from a source that is updated regularly, we want, as soon as the data arrives in our database, for the dashboard to be updated straight away. And we call that real time. And batch processing, on the other hand, let's say we receive the data on a weekly basis, then we're going to process that week at once. And we wait another week, and again, we do the analytics and the processing at once. This is called batch processing, and the analogy, if you want to think about it, real time is the sprint. As soon as you get the data, you update the system. And batch processing is like a marathon. When you get a chunk of data within the month or the week or whatever you define, then you're going to do the processing. Here we have a simple case study, a Netflix recommendation engine. And here we have 3 types of data. We have the quantitative, qualitative, and structured data, all in one. They're all used in Netflix. Quantitative here, for example, the watch duration, the timestamp, So how long people have watched for, and when did they start and finish watching. Qualitative here, the genre tags, the content types, the description of the movies, etc. This is text, is qualitative. And here structured in terms of we have a user ID. For example, me on Netflix, Netflix recognizes my account by a user ID. It's unique. I have my own user ID. The subscription tier, etc. This is how we structure that information. And by using in a smart way all this data, Netflix is able to make recommendations that drive 80% of views, and retention value is above $1 billion. So by smartly using all those features that they have, quantitative, qualitative, structured, unstructured, they have so much data going on there, they're able to make over billions of dollars yearly in revenue. So the quick analyst checklist here. Types, is it quantitative, qualitative? Quantitative is to quantify the results, it's numerical. And qualitative is for depth. It's usually textual, natural language information. Precision here, we use the Noir framework or Noir hierarchy, which is nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Then we look at the data if it's structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. And to remember it easily, any tabular data in form of tables is structured. Anything else that is images, audio, video, it's unstructured. And what is the origin of your data? Is it from your system, first party? Or is it from a tool that you're using internally, second party? Or is it completely outside, third party? And the more you go up into second, third parties, and the less you can trust the data. I want to give you here a quick practice scenario, and I'm going to show you the results just after on the next slide. So you can pause the video here and you can think of these. So scenario A, you have a list of names in Excel. What would this be? Would this be ordinal? Would this be an interval? Would this be a ratio? Scenario B, customer interview transcript. Is this quantitative data? Is this qualitative data? Scenario C, warehouse temperature log. What could this be? Could this be a ratio, an interval, ordinal? So have a quick think. We're just practicing here, so it doesn't matter if you make any mistakes, we're learning. And I'm just going to show you the slides. So scenario A is nominal, is structured. A list of names, what do you call Julie, Anas? There's no order, like one is not better than the other or more important. So it's nominal, it's structured. Scenario B is customer interview transcript. This is qualitative, it's just text, it's unstructured. And scenario C, warehouse temperature log. This is an interval because the temperature is an interval as we saw earlier. And this is structure because it's a number.